So they just decided a couple harrowing. That's good thing.
I'm going to call to order the regular Board of Education meeting, April 11th, 2017. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the first opportunity to make public comment. The board may address the board briefly for up to 3 minutes. The request to be scheduled on the agenda for a future meeting by filling out the How to Address the Board of Education form that is provided prior to each meeting. I think we have one.
Good evening. My name's Steve Olsen. My address is 15 Hickory Drive, Chelsea, Michigan. I am an ex-board member in Chelsea. I served on that board for 12 and a half years. And this year I am running for the WISD Board of Education. The election is officially June 5th, but all the local boards vote for the Board of Education positions on the WISD board, and you'll be voting sometime within 21 days before that June 5th date. There's 2 seats that are open. Currently, the composition of that board is there are 2 members from Ypsilanti, 2 members from Ann Arbor, and 1 member from the Lincoln School District. As I mentioned, I'm from Chelsea. I'd like to see some representation from the satellite communities around the center of the earth in Ann Arbor and Ypsilanti. And so I'm running. I don't have a particular agenda to push. I think I'm very experienced. I've got, I gave you my resume with my MASB training itemized on that. And I'd just like to have a voice heard on the WISD board from our communities outside of the ones that are currently represented on that board. So I'm here to put a face to a name, and I'm here to ask for your vote come sometime in one of your May board meetings when you'll have that vote. And really, that's all I have to say. I know there's no response during this public time. My contact information is on there. If any one of you would like to talk to me, please email me or give me a call, and I'd be happy to spend some time with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Administration.
Just 2 quick comments tonight. One, I would like to note that Karen Christensen passed away today, and Karen was a school board member in Saline from 1983 to 1991. Someone who presided over a period of extreme growth. That the Pleasant Ridge development and the bond issue, the result of that occurred during her tenure here, and again, our prayers and thoughts and prayers go out to her family as she passed away today. In addition, we will have announced, and I know Laura Washington sent out a notification today, we'll be conducting a parent forum at Heritage Elementary on the 19th, this coming Wednesday, a week from this coming Wednesday. We will be going over the facility issues relative to Heritage Elementary, specific really to special education programming and what we expect to see out of next year. So we've been meeting about that, and we'll have a forum there to gather feedback from them, share some ideas we have to resolve some of the concerns there. And our intention is to take that feedback and then develop some recommendations and some discussion points for us to have at our board meeting coming up on the 25th, which is 2 weeks from today, so which will be held at Heritage Elementary.
Did you say the form's on the
19th at 6 p.m. at the Heritage Media Center, and I'll share that specifically with the board, but I know that email communication went out through the Heritage Elementary as well as the K-3 elementaries today.
Board of Education members? Anybody? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Scheduled reports, the polar plunge.
I'd like to call Jackie Flores forward to make a special presentation.
Got it? Okay, good. Hi, I'm Jackie Flores. I'm a co-director for Washtenaw County Special Olympics. And we're here tonight because, as you know, we had our Polar Plunge, which is our largest fundraiser of the year for Special Olympics back in February. And this year we kind of did a team competition amongst the high schools. And we put it out there, whichever high school could raise the most money for Special Olympics would get the traveling trophy. And of course, Saline did the job, and the team Saline came in and raised $19,000, over $19,000 for the Polar Plunge. So we were so excited and very proud of them for doing that. This is Carol Evangelista. She's one of our athletes for Special Olympics. So she's going to help us present that. Stay right here, Carol. She's going to help us present that trophy. You had two students that were on our committee this year for the Polar Plunge from the high school, Callie Harden and Kate Hine. And could you come up, Callie? They were awesome with working with us on the Polar Plunge. They came to all our meetings, were there offering ideas, and then took it back to the school and engaged the student body to participate in the Polar Plunge. So we're very proud of their efforts and everything that they did. And we're also proud of the Connect classroom that Connect students at the high school that they participated, and all the staff and the other students and everybody in Saline that helped us out. And it was just an awesome, tremendous effort on Saline's part, and we thank you for that. We also just want to thank Saline Schools for all they do for us in Special Olympics. They provide us with facilities and places to play our games and our tournaments and our competitions, and we are so thoughtful and thankful for all that you do for us. And so if we could present this trophy, can I read that, Carol? And then
Yes, you may.
Thank you. The trophy says the University of Michigan Polar Plunge School Challenge. The top team traveling trophy goes to Team Saline 2017. So, and could the Connect students all come up? Because we have some other students that are here today too from Connect class, and Trish, you want to come up too? You're a big part of this. We'd like to, Carol, you want to present this trophy to Callie in honor of the Saline team?
Kelly
Thank you,
is
Saline.
Kelly is one of the best people that I know for many decades, and I'm not kidding when I say she's a sweet woman, and I give her a lot of courage to.
Thank you so much.
Let me finish.
Oh, you saw more?
Right before this time. I appreciate all your help with the specialties, and I want to be present to you because all you have worked very hard. I appreciate all your help and encouragement, and you're like a queen, and I really want to give this to you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, if we can get a photo with everybody in front of the flag, that would be great.
Carol, I shouldn't have even talked.
I am one of a kind.
I know, one of a kind.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. All right. I'd like to call Jody Galinsky forward from the principal of Southwest Washtenaw Consortium, and then David Meller, our FFA teacher.
Thanks so much. I am Jody Galinsky. I'm the principal of the Southwest Washtenaw Consortium, and I'm so excited to be here tonight to honor Dave Meller for the Ag Educator of the Year. It is truly the highest honor that Michigan State gives for an ag teacher. And I knew about this award back in October, and with that came a all-expense paid trip to the National.
Oh, that was a different award.
Oh, that was a different, see, which I thought was connected with this, but that was great. So this is Dave's 21st year with Saline Schools, and I couldn't be more proud of him. He's kind of had a rough year over the past year, and so this was perfectly fitting for him to get this honor this year. Dave?
Thank you, Jody. And this is trophy night, so. This award is given out by the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Michigan State University at the Dean's Luncheon, and is nominated by the Michigan Department of Education. And that's where this is the background on this. And it's more a reflection on the school district, because this is not a one-man operation to achieve this. It takes a good facility, which we have. It takes outstanding administrators that support your program, like Jody and Dave Rath. It takes great kids that want to learn and have good work ethic, which we have in this community. And then it takes parents. And I am blessed in that I have the Washtenaw Ag Boosters, which is my parent organization and industry, and they're ones that work behind the scenes to be the judges, to be the chaperones, to be the drivers, everything that it takes to really grow this program to the point where we are today. And this is more an award for the district rather than me. So thank you. It's a pleasure to work here.
Congratulations.
Can I have a recommended motion to approve the Pittsfield polling agreement at the Saline High School as submitted by Superintendent Grady?
Did you say it? I thought I heard your voice. So moved.
Oh, yeah. Support. Discussion.
Yeah, at the meeting, over several years, the Pittsfield Township has talked at various points about using one of our school facilities for a polling location. We've had several conversations. At many points, for a variety of reasons, it hasn't happened. I was recently approached by clerk and deputy. You guys can come forward if you want to. From Pittsfield, Michelle Anduzzi and Lynn Sebastian. To talk a little bit about maybe using Saline area schools facilities, and it really related to a need they had in terms of some redistricting. So I think when people have asked some questions, as this has been on the agenda, about which polling locations moving, I think it's more of a kind of a redistricting or repolling. I'll let them talk a little bit about that. As we reviewed our facilities, we had the opportunity to meet with Principal Raft and tour Saline High School, looking at a facility that would meet their needs in terms of accessible, kind of barrier-free, meeting our needs in terms of really making sure that we could potentially conduct this while school's in session, and looking at the facilities. The high school quickly became the best facility from that overall perspective. And ultimately, we kind of devised a creative solution in terms of really segmenting our student population during the day from the polling that could occur and having a facility and a space large enough. And really what we determined is that the auditorium stage, which is frankly a really large space, would accommodate their needs. We had an event there several years ago with the Foundation for Saline Area Schools, where we had the participants come early in the school day during kind of the student drop-off time and come in through a separate entrance, and that worked well. And so we've looked at that. If you look at the map that was included, that would go. I would like the Township Representatives to talk a little bit about kind of why the need has presented itself now and why we feel this is the right move for the community.
Thank you. It is our pleasure to be here. Of course, I am the clerk of Pittsfield Charter Township. My name is Michelle Ansaldi, and Lynn Sebastian is the deputy clerk. It's really nice to come out here and meet some of the leaders in the Saline area. I've mostly stayed on the east side, and now I'm venturing out to Saline. It's a beautiful town. And we would like to thank the school board for just having us here and considering us and allowing us to potentially use the Saline High School as a polling location. Currently, we have about 5,000 registered voters that live in this district that vote in 3 different polling locations. Those polling locations hold about 4 precincts, and they vote over at the Pittsfield Community Center, the Christian Academy on Moon Road, and of course at the administrative building. These 3 polling locations hold about 11,000 voters. 11,000 voters are registered to vote at these 3 polling locations. And because of the way the precincts were set up a long time ago, and because Pittsfield has been growing, we are near or at capacity for all of these precincts, and we really need to do something. When we looked around, we noticed Saline High School is a really nice looking facility, very beautiful. The deputy clerk and the election specialist had an opportunity to go and visit the school, and they determined that the rooms are large enough, and the parking is adequate, and it's ADA accessible, so it's really a perfect spot for us. And not only that, but there are a lot of people living in Saline that could potentially vote at a more convenient location. If the board allows it, we would like to establish 2 precincts at this high school. This would serve about 4,000 voters that live in this area. On big elections, we would probably need 2 rooms to carry these 2 precincts, and those are on even years. And on odd years, we can consolidate these precincts into 1 room. Allowing the township to use the high school would potentially reduce the wait times at the polls, because we would be reducing the size of the voter rolls, and it would be, as I said, conveniently located. It may also reduce the cost when the school places a single issue on the ballot, because the school would not have to end up paying for 3 polling locations. They would only have to pay for 2, so it reduces a lot of costs for you guys also. Also, using the high school would be a wonderful opportunity for the students to engage in the political process. There are some opportunities for students who may wish to come and work at the polling locations, potentially meeting with educators at the high school to do a presentation or to give some educational information to the students. So we really do need to reduce the size of our precincts. Saline High School is a perfect spot, and we would just like to thank you for this opportunity in considering this request. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
I don't know if you can answer it, but parking, what are we gonna?
Yeah, we
close off
would
that one
literally
line?
rope off a certain area. If you look at kind of the map, our intention would be to rope off what would be kind of the northeast quadrant of that parking lot during during those times. Frankly, most elections, it's not gonna be an issue. The even year presidential elections would likely be something where we'd have to rope off additional. What we could do, and also have done before, when we've had major events at the high school during the school day, we've communicated with the students the day prior and asked them to park in certain areas, and then we do cone and we've had community ed and other staff involved with kind of coning and roping off areas.
If we had 2 rooms, like she mentioned, what would the second room?
There's the, what we call the drama lab, or the black box room, which is located adjacent to there. It's a good sized space that would allow for a second precinct.
Is it possible to completely lock them out of the rest of the building?
We could lock them out if there were to be an emergency situation, meaning a fire. They would know, those doors would open and they would be able, everyone would be able to exit out of those areas.
Right, it just, for the random people that are in there, they can't go anywhere else in the
Into the
building.
high school?
Right, so the scenario would be during the school day, absolutely not, because those doors are locked. Every other door except for these doors would be locked. We've talked to them about having public safety presence during those elections in terms of the entry point. During the school day, this is likely to happen particularly early in the process. If someone says they're voting against Saline High School, they would come to the front entry point. We would have staff there that would redirect them to park in the appropriate areas. Probably we have cards or a map to say you need to kind of go back out and around. We would not escort them or allow them to go through the building to the polling voting. But to say that people aren't gonna show up at the front door during the school day, I would assume they would, particularly
Right.
the first couple times.
But they won't be allowed anywhere else in the building.
Like they couldn't exit out of the
Yeah.
auditorium into the hallway,
Into the-
into the.
Like temporary.
And actually wouldn't really require much temporary in terms of, because we do have fire doors in those areas.
Okay.
But though, again, I would say if the fire alarm goes, those doors open.
Right. Right, okay.
Polls open at 7 a.m.?
Correct.
Any idea what the percentage vote is in the morning hours? Because that's really when the
Very
bottleneck
heavy
would,
between 7 to 8.
say that again?
It's the heaviest between 7 to 8, and then around noon, and then around 5. Those are the 3 peak times.
Yeah. So the bottleneck would be 7 to 8,
Yeah.
because that's when our students are arriving.
And you indicated predominantly Saline area school, or almost exclusively Saline area school
100%.
residents.
100%.
So I think it's important to know
Mhm.
that people entering the building are our residents.
No questions?
The last thing I would want to note, have had conversations in the past with our government teachers about having students participate. We've had requests from other clerks, township clerks in our community wanting to have students potentially help out and participate. One, there's a need for additional labor on those days, and certainly they've expressed an interest, the government teachers have expressed an interest in sharing that information with students. This would probably allow that to occur a lot easier in terms of having students come to school and then participate in that process. And frankly, you know, as a democratically elected board, I'm very supportive of having opportunities for our students to participate in that process very early in their kind of political lives.
Wasn't it a requirement too for the class, for some of the AP
Yeah,
government
yeah,
classes?
yeah.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you.
Discussion items, finance committee update.
Yes, the Finance Committee met last night at 5 o'clock. Assistant Superintendent Janice Warner walked us through the state aid budget comparisons that I think you're going to talk about a little bit later on, or not. If so. If not, I won't talk about it.
Sure.
But they're coming in now, the governor's proposal, the House and the Senate, they all seem to come within about $140,000 impact to Saline. So it's narrowing down how it will actually shake out in terms of exactly which one will favor, but that's about where it's coming in. So it seems to be fairly favorable for us. Anything else,
It
Janice?
should be around $600,000 that we anticipate getting next year, additional funds.
That's it.
All right, okay.
Next meeting will be the first Monday of May.
I don't really have much of an update. We haven't met because we've been in a holding pattern on the, as we transition over to Neola, but we do have the information has come in, and our next meeting is Tuesday, 5 o'clock, the 18th. Tuesday, the 18th at 5 o'clock. Paul.
So a 3 and an 8, they kind of look alike, so.
And then professional development survey results.
As Assistant Superintendent Lodge kind of puts together the slide project, we do a professional development that we have done the last couple of years, and I've asked Steve to put together a little bit of a report in terms, just so you get a sense of the types of questions we ask our staff and just some of the feedback we get. You know, we talk a lot about wanting to create two-way communication related to how teachers and faculty learn. And Mr. Lodge can share some of that.
Okay. So up on the overhead, or the Epson, we have some of our results. This survey actually gave about 30 slides for results, and we're just going to hit the highlights. And so again, we'll start with, well, what's the purpose? I know this is a little small, so I'll read some of the highlights here. But the purpose of the study was to assess the overall quality of the district's professional development, the professional development content and impact, active learning amongst our staff, how professional development influences their teaching, alignment and ongoing support that we provide. But before we get into what the survey results are, we think it's important that we define, well, what does professional development even mean? And so what we tried to do here was list the variety of different types of professional development we offer, so you can see there's a broad spectrum of what we try to do in the district to really meet everybody's needs, which is really hard because, you know, the art teacher at the high school level is very different than the kindergarten teacher in any of our buildings. And so trying to make professional development work for everybody in the district is sometimes challenging. So here's some of the things that we do offer. We offer reading and writing workshop training where teachers come into the district and we put them in settings to try to teach how this goes in our classroom on a regular basis. We have teacher leaders that support this work. Kurt and I are involved every year in a new teacher cohort, so all our new teachers that come through the district, we meet on a regular basis with them throughout the year to provide professional development on not only good teaching practices, but other professional development throughout the district and, you know, human resources and whatnot. We also offer everyday mathematics training for our elementary schools. We're big on teacher leadership support, that we don't want the professional development only to be led by administrators. In fact, we primarily want it to be led by our teachers. So in order for that to happen, we need to help our teaching core understand what it means to be leaders and how to be effective leaders amongst their peers, because now they're in a peer-to-peer professional development situation. Project Lead the Way, you've heard that talked about often, our STEM programming that is now K through 12. We offer training throughout the year with that, both at the elementary and secondary level. CPI, which is often talks about helping properly work with students that may have some behavioral issues and helping to turn that into positive support. Modern Teacher is an organization that we're spending a lot of time with now, and that is to help us continue with the future-focused direction. Next Generation Classroom PD, a lot of the work that Heather Kellstrom is doing is helping to support and onboard teachers to not only effectively change the learning environment, but also how to teach in that environment. And that's really important, that you just don't lay down and redesign furniture. You have to talk about how that looks and what kind of professional development is offered in order for that to be effective. We're also firmly focused with project-based learning, in particular at Heritage School, and the Buck Institute is one of our partners that is helping to provide ongoing support there. At Leader 21, an organization that is helping with that support of the 4 C's implementation. Illuminate is one of our partners in helping with data and assessment. We also are working hard on student learning objectives. This is something that supports from Michigan Department of Education, but in essence, this is where we want every teacher to be able to develop a plan to show us how students are growing in their classrooms and back that up with data. We also have all sorts of book studies that go on in our buildings. Innovators Mindset, for example. A number of the elementary schools have been working with that. We also have a number of programs that we support from the WISD, assessment literacy, study of early literacy, integrated disciplinary reading and learning programs. And another program supported at the ISD is the Teacher Evaluation Network. Finally, we also have on your own professional development. And this is where we feel it's really important to be able to catch all people in our district. We do that by providing teacher improvement money for our teachers, where every teacher has a certain amount of money that they can use to go to conferences and workshops to support their own education. In other words, we try to offer a variety of things inside the district, but they also have the opportunity to go outside the district and really focus in on their individual needs as well. So we're proud to be able to offer that, to really be able to provide comprehensive support. So here's what the survey said. And the first part is to know the time frame that we offered the survey was between January 31st and February 14th, so a pretty narrow window. And the report summarizes the results broken down between the elementary and secondary levels. In terms of participation, it was a pretty good spread. We had 55% response rate, which is really excellent for a survey. If you're getting into that range, you can feel pretty confident that this is fairly reflective of what people overall do feel in the district. And when you look at the spread of buildings and numbers, High school was the largest response, which it should be, because that's our largest building, followed by the middle school, which is our second largest building. So that spread seemed to work out well as well in terms of number of participants. In terms of the overall rating, out of 183 responses, you'll see that 88% of the people said that the professional development that they have that is offered is good or excellent in the district. In terms of school level, a little bit higher support when it comes to elementary, 91% of the people rating it as excellent or good. At the secondary level, 85%. Here's some key insights that K-12 Insight, the company that helps us develop surveys and analyze them, pointed out. 88% of participating instructional staff members rated the quality excellent or good, and a slightly higher amount from elementary supported that than secondary did. But here's some areas that we need to consider and need to consider working on. 64% of instructional staff members agreed that on one question that asked about noticing students, when students aren't engaged, are they able to use some of the strategies from professional development to further support engagement? Only 64% said yes, and so that would be a key area that we would say, okay, well, we want engagement to be an important thing that we do every day in the classroom. And we want the professional development to reflect the ability that teachers are able to take that and figure out better engagement strategies. So that's an area that we would want to focus on. This is also a big deal, that about half of the instructional staff members said that they don't have enough opportunities to observe their colleagues or receive feedback from their colleagues. And we have taken some steps to try to offer more opportunities to observe each other, where we allow release time for teachers to go and observe other teachers. But I think there does need to be greater emphasis on allowing staff to have feedback with each other and dialogue amongst each other. This is a good stat. 85% of instructional staff members said that this year's professional development activities either greatly or moderately aligned with district's initiative, policies, and reforms. You hear us talk about the learner profile, our instructional framework. We want our professional development to be reflective of that. We want our teaching staff to understand how we're all trying to work together to support these areas. And for the most part, instructional staff are reporting that we do that. In terms of top 3 areas of requested additional support based on the survey, it all has to do with collaboration. There were 3 things that came through in the survey. During the school year, people want more time to collaborate with staff members who teach the same subject, that's number 1. More time to collaborate with staff members who do similar work, that's number 2. And number 3 is time to collaborate with staff members from the same grade level. So they value collaboration, which I think speaks really highly to our staff, that they want to work together instead of being isolated and doing their own thing. So that's something we'll continue to work on moving forward. Questions? Karen?
So is this the first time we've done the survey now?
No, we've done the survey
At least or second, maybe 3.
Yeah.
So I know we've kind of changed over and now we have those early release days for the purpose of professional development, correct? Have we seen a change in the results because of that, do you think? Has there
I
been?
don't know if it's because of that. These results are similar from what we've seen before.
Okay.
I think it would be, we need a little more time, but the initial feedback from early release is that people feel like it's a positive direction.
The staff feels like it's
The staff,
Right.
right, the staff, right. Right, I mean, right, in terms of the community, right, there is more of a strain on parents in terms of more early release days or half days, which we've tried to mitigate by offering free childcare and some other areas.
As you think about the structure of professional development for next year, you think about early release days. Now, use this week as an example. You know, we have an early release day and we have no school. Happen to have no school on Friday. We've looked at that next year and tried to look at opportunities to really balance, still continue to balance the incremental nature of our professional development, but also try to not necessarily have really disruptive weeks.
Yeah, we tried to fix some of those things that were somewhat disruptive, like this week, for example.
The kids loved it. Are you kidding me? Back from spring break and they have a half day and a day off.
With SAT and some of those other,
Right.
it's a
So
choppy week.
we're gonna continue the early release next year. And
Yes.
see.
Were there any surprises that you became aware of, maybe that didn't make this, but were still surprises that you weren't aware of?
you want to speak?
I'll jump in. I will be very frank and say that the feedback that we got from the secondary level in terms of the positive response associated with professional was much better than I anticipated. When there was strong participation at that level, so we were able to say that's indicative of what they feel about. And just historically, I'll be frank, elementary faculty tend to be a little more positive about things than secondary faculty. The feedback from if you can get 85% of high school teachers say they think something's going well, you're pretty darn sure it's going well. And that's I think a credit to Steve and the principals at the various building levels to say there's some buy-in, there's alignment, they feel like they're engaged in it. We have teacher leaders that are participating in it, so there are peers involved. I think that's a real positive. That was surprising for me.
It's certainly never perfect, but I do think we've tried hard to listen to staff about making adjustments for professional development, and if something's not going well, we try to change it. For example, there were some staff members for this upcoming year in the English department at the high school that really feel we need to work more on instilling in our kids the importance of speaking and listening skills, and so we're responding to that to offer some professional development in that area. So we really do try to listen to the staff about what kinds of things they want. But again, when you have over 300 teachers and they're all doing different types of things, it is hard to make it work for a one-size-fits-all model, which is why we try to offer a variety of things, including giving the teachers teacher improvement money so they can seek their own professional development, which is very rare, and it should be commended that the Board of Education supports that, because most districts do not provide that for their teaching staff.
Do a lot of the teachers utilize that?
They do,
Do they?
yeah. And we set aside money for that to happen, and we feel that the feedback we get from that is really valuable. Teachers will go on a conference and they'll bring a lot back from this.
What's the process for that? I mean, how does a teacher get recognized or get a conference recognized by their?
They submit a request, and as long as we feel that it is supporting district initiatives or what they do as a teacher, then we're going to approve that. Now, on occasion, we have one that we feel like it doesn't support that, and we won't approve it, and then teachers go, and they could submit for reimbursement for things like conference fees or travel costs.
Really, travel costs as well, so.
Well, yeah, we need to try to, yeah.
What kind of funds are you talking about for some of the conferences?
I mean, it comes from our general fund.
$700 a year.
That's you, the number, okay, yes, $700 a year that they can use.
Some will even use it for things like graduate credit.
Yes.
And I appreciate that.
Yes, they do. They use it for graduate school too as well.
So on the collaborative part, do we ever get like all the second grade teachers from all the buildings together and?
We do.
Great.
We do.
As a matter of
We do,
fact,
so yeah, tomorrow's one of them, but we also have just individual buildings working together too. And it's tricky because the staff values that time as well. And I think Betty and the elementary principals can speak to this. Often, they want to work as a building level because that's where they are daily. And that sometimes we have professional development, we bring all three of the kindergarten through third grade buildings together. You know, in the other buildings, they're always together. You know, we have 1, 4, 5.
Yeah.
We have one bed.
Well, I mean, I think in the past, the elementaries are all kind of slightly going off in their own little direction, so I think it is a good idea to get them all together because you build a little bit of.
You want to be on the same page.
Yeah.
At the same time, you want buildings to have their own identity and.
Because you're all
some level of
essentially
autonomy.
teaching the same thing, because you're
Right,
K-3.
right. You want kids to have similar experiences.
Correct.
I think the level of engagement that you see, I mean, you see that when things are happening with Betty's group, per se, on Twitter, the excitement and enthusiasm that they display is really cool, so I commend you guys for that.
In fact, one of the things that's neat tomorrow is Betty, Michelle, and Kevin put together a Twitter slideshow of all the highlights of the year, and it will be looping throughout the building so that the teachers can kind of reflect on that we do appreciate that excitement.
Yeah, it's great to
that's a neat
see.
thing.
And the teachers across the three buildings, especially when you check this with 3 separate buildings, share with each, so they're liking one another's and they're
Right.
taking ideas. And so because we can't be together all the time, one of the things that's really happened this year is they're reaching out saying, okay, we saw you're doing this, tell us more, and they're asking one another. So without always being able to be together, they're talking to each other in pockets and throughout.
And the parents are seeing that, which I think is crucial, so, it's good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I have a recommended motion to authorize the following items as part of the consent agenda. A, approval of the regular Board of Education meeting minutes of March 28, 2017. B, approval of payments for the general fund accounts payable of April 11, 2017 in the amount of $205,040.43. C, approval of payment of bond fund accounts payable of April 11, 2017 in the amount of $267,228. D, receive and file April curriculum, finance, human resource reports.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0. Items scheduled for the next agenda, Heritage School Report.
Yep, Heritage, Laura will be on, and she'll be, she's ready to go, she's excited, I can tell.
Are we there or is it here?
We will be at Heritage, we'll be in the Media Center at Heritage. Media Center. Now, I believe, were we starting with the music presentation? We have a very unique starting process, so we'll get some more information coming, but there's a concert that night, and so we may.
So we'll start, I've already talked to Judy, so we'll start in the cafeteria gymnasium area. They're going to play about 2 or 3 songs, and then we will make our way out. And
Dennis
then
on
we'll
drums,
continue the concert.
Paul on lead vocals.
All hands out.
I'll trade you vocals, Dennis.
Maybe a hip to be square reunion?
There you go. I recycled the uniforms. Sorry.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
thanks.
thank you.
Last opportunity for public comment. And next Board of Education meeting will be held in April 25th, 2017 at 6:30 at the Heritage School Media Center, or maybe the gym.
In the building.
Yeah, in those. Can I have a recommended motion to adjourn the regular Board of Education meeting, April 11th, 2017 at 7:12? I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, hearing none, motion carries 7-0.